Hey guys, it's Kyla at the MJC, and today we're going to be going through the income and expense statement. But before we get into the form, as always, this is just a reminder that nothing in this video is intended to be legal advice. It's a video, so I'm not able to analyze your situation and determine whether the income and expense statement is the right form for your situation. If you do have questions about whether this is the right form for you, what you should put into it, or different things like that about your case, you can get brief legal advice here in Milwaukee County through the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinics. If you're not located in Milwaukee County, you can contact the clerk of court for your area to find out what options for legal advice and information are available in your area. Alright, so the income and expense statement is a short form version of the financial disclosure. Most commonly in our clinics, you'll be using this form when you have an upcoming hearing and you need to do a financial disclosure, but don't need to do the full 8-page financial disclosure document. So as with most of our forms, we're going to begin at the top of the document in the caption. And this very top line is for the county. So we'll put the county where your case is located. For us, that's going to be Milwaukee. And then for the caption, your caption should be the same as the caption was in your original case. So if you are filing this shortly after you've just completed a motion, like a modification motion or a contempt motion or something like that, you can take a look at the document you filed. That most likely has the names in the correct order. But if you're not certain that those names are right, some other places that you could figure this out is basically you'll go back to the very first document filed in the case. So if the case that you're filing in was originally started as a divorce case, then it's going to be whoever filed for divorce. Their name will go first. Then the person who learned about the divorce, got served about the divorce, will go second. If you filed as joint petitioners, whatever orders your names were in the beginning. If your case is a post-judgment case, a paternity case rather, or a support and maintenance case, then those types of cases will usually have the mom's name first and the dad's name second. That's because your original filing may say something like the state of Wisconsin versus mom and dad. And since this form doesn't have a space to put state of Wisconsin versus mom and dad, we just sort of do as a shorthand that second part, mom and dad. And the order of the names will be as it was on your original documents, even if you are the respondent. So even if you, the person asking for something now, are the respondent, you'll still put your name in this second box, because this first section is really like a title page. It's telling the court what case we're involved in, but it's not necessarily saying who's asking for what. And so here we'll put in the first person, again, the person who was listed first in the original court case. And in our situation, that is Jane Doe. And you'll include all of this information if you know it. And so let's say we're filling this out with John Smith. He's the person who's filling this out. And let's say he doesn't know Jane's information. So he maybe has arranged service through the child support agency, or for some reason just doesn't know that address. Then what you can do is you can actually leave that section blank. So you should fill in your information, right? Because you know your information. But if you don't know the other person's information, then what you can do is you can leave that blank and just put as much as you know. So if I know Jane lives in Milwaukee, I could just put that. If I don't know Jane's phone number, just put that. And so you've got different options for how to fill it in. I'm just going to put those back in because we want this to be a situation where we have all that information. Here you're going to put your case number. So that's going to be number, either FA or PA, and then 00, and then 4 numbers after that. Some of the numbers might be zeros. Some of the numbers might be, different, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever you have there. If you have a 4D number or a kid's case number, you'll put it here. If you either don't have that number or don't know what it is, just go ahead and leave this section blank. So the next part of this first page is the general information section. So the general information section is where you're going to put information about yourself. So as I mentioned before, John Smith is the one filling this out. So John's going to put his name and his address here. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is pretty repetitive. I just put my information up there. Yes, correct. It is a situation where you do end up repeating information sometimes. So welcome to government work. But you go ahead and put that. And then here you'll put a good phone number. And so sometimes it can be annoying because that may be exactly what you put above, but we're still going to go ahead and list it again. And then on the next level, we're going to put John's employer information. So you very likely know the name of your employer and the address, but if you don't, that's something that you can usually find on your pay stub. So it's often here, especially if you're not sure about the payroll office. That can be a location to find that information. Main Street, and then here. And some people will ask, should I put, what if my employer has, if the location I work is different than the location of the payroll office? And so most commonly on this income and expense statement, you can honestly go either way. There are arguments for both, but typically we have you put the place where you physically work, unless there's some reason that you think that your employer's, we'll do this as all 5s, that you think your employer's payroll address is more relevant. So I could change this. It could be any town, New York, as John's payroll. Current members of your household is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to put in the names of anybody who lives in your house with you. So if you live alone, you just check that first box, and then you move on to the next section. If somebody lives with you, even if that person is a friend or a roommate, so maybe John has a roommate, you'll still list that person. And a lot of folks say, oh, you know what, I don't really want to include, my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my roommate or my brother or my sister, my mom, whoever. Again, this isn't saying they have to show up at the hearing or anything like that. This is just letting the court know who lives in your household. And then you'll also indicate whether that person helps pay expenses. So if that person splits the rent with you, or that person helps pay the utilities or something, this would be a yes. If they don't contribute any money toward the expenses, then that would be a no. And you might have situations that can be a little surprising. So let's say, John's daughter, Susie, receives, say, SSI or something like that, and John uses that to pay the expenses. That could be a way in which, even though Susie doesn't work necessarily, that you could say, yes, Susie does help with the expenses. So keep an eye out for little sort of oddities like that. And then that's all we're going to do for this section, because you can see this monthly income section really belongs to the next page, which is something we're going to tackle in the next video. All right, thank you guys for riding along on this. I look forward to seeing you for the next one. And as ever, go out and represent yourselves well.